Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. We're starting a new chapter in Canto 2 today. So Canto 2 is entitled The Cosmic Manifestation. The new chapter is Chapter 7, which is entitled Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions. And this morning, of course, we'll start with text 1. Hare Krishna. Without further ado, we'll start the class. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Givadadhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Givadadhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihari 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 Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajikacharya Stotra Satsishimada's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitya Vishnu Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajikacharya Stotra Satsishimada's Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavindi Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON founder Charge Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Siva Shri Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Swami Ki Jai. गंगा माई की जय जमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी की जय भक्ति देवी की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय सामवेद भक्तविंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Gauranga. Krishna Prabhupada, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Krishna, Bhutale Srimati, Bhakti Deva Swami Nityananda, Namaste Krishna, Sri Guru Karma Shakti. Narayana Namaskritta, Narung Chaivam, Narottamam, Devim Saraswati Vyasam, Tato Jayam Udhirayat. Nashtaprayesva Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhavatu Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. So this morning, Bhagavatam is from Canto 2, Chapter 7, and Text 1. Brahmovāca. Hare Krishna. Hang on a second, please. Let me see. I'm just trying to figure out what tune is best for this, but let's see. see if I find one. Okay. Yatrodyataḥ kṣiti-taloddharaṇāya bibhrat krauḍīṁ tanuṁ sakala-yajña-mayīm anantaḥ antar-mahārṇava upāgatam ādi-daityaṁ daṁṣṭrayādrim iva vajra-dharo dadāra. Yatrodyataḥ kṣiti-taloddharaṇāya bibhrat krauḍīṁ tanuṁ sakala-yajña-mayīm antar-mahārṇava upāgatam ādi-daityaṁ daṁṣṭrayādrim iva vajra-dharo dadāra. Yatrodyataḥ kṣiti-taloddharaṇāya bibhrat krauḍīṁ tanuṁ sakala-yajña-mayīm antar-mahārṇava upāgatam ādi-daityaṁ daṁṣṭrayādrim iva vajra-dharo dadāra. Hare Krishna. You can chant if you want to.
Yatrodyataḥ kṣiti-taloddharaṇāya bibhrat krauḍīṁ tanuṁ sakala-yajña-mayīm antar-mahārṇava upāgatam ādi-daityaṁ daṁṣṭrayādrim iva vajra-dharo dadāra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Brahmā uvaca yatrodyataḥ kṣiti-taloddharaṇāya bibhrat krauḍīṁ tanuṁ sakala-yajña-mayīm antar-mahārṇava upāgatam ādi-daityaṁ daṁṣṭrayādrim iva vajra-dharo dadāra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Word for word translation. Brahmovāca, Lord Brahma said, Yatra, at that time when Udiyata attempted, kṣiti-tala, the planet Earth, Udaraṇāya, for the matter of lifting, bibhrat, assumed, krauḍīṁ, pastimes, tanuṁ, form, sakala, total, yajña-mayīm, all-inclusive sacrifices, anantaḥ, the unlimited, antar, within the universe, mahārṇava, the great Garbha ocean, upāgatam, having arrived at, ādi, the first, daityaṁ, demon, tanuṁ, him, daṁṣṭrayādrim, by the tusk, ādrim, the flying mountains, iva, like, vajra-dharo, the controller of the thunderbolts, dadāra, pierced. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime, just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodaka. The first demon, Hiraṇyākṣa, appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his tusk. Report by Srila Prabhupada. Since the beginning of creation, the demons and the demigods, or the Vaishnavas, are always the two classes of living beings to dominate the planets of the universe. Lord Brahma is the first demigod, and Hiraṇyākṣa is the first demon in this universe. Only under certain conditions do the planets float as weightless balls in the air, and as soon as these conditions are disturbed, the planets may fall down in the Garbhodaka ocean, which covers half of the universe. The other half is the spherical dome within which the innumerable planetary systems exist. The floating of the planets in the weightless air is due to the inner constitution of the globes, and the modernized drilling of the earth to exploit oil from within is a sort of disturbance by the modern demons and can result in a greatly harmful reaction to the floating condition of the earth. A similar disturbance was created formerly by the demons headed by Hiraṇyākṣa, the great exploiter of the gold rush, and the earth was detached from its weightless condition and fell down into the Garbhodaka ocean. The Lord, as maintainer of the whole creation of the material world, therefore assumed the gigantic form of a boar with a proportionate snout and picked up the earth from within the water of the Garbhodaka. Sri Jayadev Goswami, the great Vaishnava poet, sang, Basati Dashana Shikare Dharani Tavaladna Shashini Kalanka Kaliva Nimagna kṣava-dita Shukara-rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare. O Kṣava, O Supreme Lord, who have assumed the form of a boar, O Lord, the planet Earth rested on your tusks, and it appeared like the moon engraved with spots. Such is the symptom of an incarnation of a Lord. The incarnation of a Lord is not the concocted idea of fanciful men who create an incarnation out of imagination. The incarnation of a Lord appears under certain extraordinary circumstances, like the above-mentioned occasion, and the incarnation performs a task which is not even imaginable by the tiny brain of mankind. The modern creators of many cheap incarnations may take note of the factual incarnation of God as a gigantic boar with a suitable snout to carry the planet Earth. When the Lord appeared to pick up the earth, the demon of the name Hiraṇyākṣa tried to create a disturbance in the methodical functions of the Lord, and therefore he was killed by being pierced by the Lord's tusk. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the demon Hiraṇyākṣa was killed by the hand of the Lord. Therefore, his version is that after being killed by the hand of the Lord, the demon was pierced by the tusk. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirms this version. Oma Gyanati Vrandasya Gyana Gyana Shalakaya Chakshu Umaditam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishnu Tapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam upāgatam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatiyadi Shatarini Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Guratise Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, the translation again. Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime, just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodaka, the first demon, Hiraṇyākṣa, appeared, and then the Lord pierced him with his tusk. So this describes as the title of this chapter, the scheduled incarnations and the pastimes involving those incarnations. So the first one is Hiraṇyākṣa. Now, Hiraṇyākṣa is actually a pure devotee in the spiritual world. And you go, what? He's supposed to be a demon? Why is he a pure devotee of the spiritual world? Well, he is from the spiritual world. Actually, ultimately, we are all from the spiritual world. The only difference between Hiraṇyākṣa and ourselves is that, and we'll talk about the pastime in a minute, The difference is he didn't choose to come to the material world on his own. He came to the material world just to assist Krishna, or in the Vishnu form, in his pastimes. We came to the material world because we were stubborn. And Krishna did not want us to leave the spiritual world, but we wanted control to be like Krishna. And you can't be like Krishna. There's only one Krishna. Nobody is at his level. Nobody can be beyond him in ability in any way. So Hiraṇyākṣa is also from a spiritual world. But because Krishna wanted to sport, the kind of sport that he would not normally get in the spiritual world, we'll explain that too. Then he came to the material world. Krishna just wanted to exercise, as Prabhupada says, just to do a little exercise, just to keep the body fit. Of course, he was just messing around with it. The boys are laughing about it. But, he likes the fighting spirit too. So, as Krishna can be described as in all ashrams, he doesn't belong to any ashram. Not brahmachari, not grihastha, not vanapasta, not sannyas. Any of the ashrams he gets into is purely for one reason only, pastimes, just to have fun. So he wanted to fight, but he wanted to fight with someone who won't just give a mock fight into him. He wanted to fight with someone who really, really wants to come after him and even is thinking about killing him. Because people who think that way, and usually they are the demons, those who think that way will give Krishna a very good fight. And that's what he wanted. He wanted good opposition, so that the whole pastime will be interesting. So these scheduled incarnations, as Lord Brahma is describing, the first one is Hiraṇyākṣa. Now, there are two souls that came from the spiritual world. Hiraṇyākṣa is one of the gatekeepers in the Vaikuntha planets. When you're getting into any planet, there is a gatekeeper. So you can't just go in like that. The place is always protected. And whatever business you want, it would be informed to either Lord Krishna, if it's Goloka Vrindavan, or Lord Narayan, if it is one of those planets in the spiritual world. You get permission, then you go. So Hiraṇyākṣa was one of the gatekeepers. There were two of them, two gatekeepers, Jaya and Vijay. So here is what happened. So there were four very young looking, but quite old sages. They were born by Lord Brahma also. They were called the Kumaras, four of them. And when they were born, they decided they didn't want married life. They wanted to be brahmachari for life. Therefore, by their own potencies, they're born in the heavenly planets. They all have mystic powers. They made their bodies stay young, like 5-year-olds. So the question of marriage is out of the door. Because you don't marry a 5-year-old, or a person looks like a 5-year-old. You take care of them. So that was the way they got around that whole issue of getting into the material energy in a very, very, very committed way, like grihastas have to go through. So they traveled around different places. They had the right to go to even Vaikuntha planets, but they were roaming first in the upper planetary systems, different places. They were impersonalists at first. They were impersonalists. So the four Kumaras, they came to the Vaikuntha planet, and the gate for the Vaikuntha planet was guarded by the two guards called Jai and Vijay. So the four Kumaras, whose names are Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumara. Their leader is actually Sanat Kumara, but there are four of them. So they arrived at the gates of Vaikuntha. Jaya and Vijay stopped them. And they didn't stop them in a great mood either. They just figured, who are these little toddler-looking people that want to come to the spiritual world, come to this particular planet? So they asked in a rather, they did not use much tact in dealing with them. They basically looked down as these are like almost like babies. What do they want here? That was the way they were thinking, these giant gatekeepers. So when they asked the business what they wanted, what the four Kumaras wanted, they didn't ask it in a congenial mood. They asked it in a way that, so the body language is telling that we don't want you here. So the four Kumaras got surprised because they just in the young bodies for a reason, what we just talked about. They wanted to be brahmachari their whole lives and be renunciates also. So that attitude surprised them. The attitude by Jaya and Vijay surprised the four Kumaras. And four Kumaras said, what kind of people are here in the spiritual world? We know what the behavior of people in the spiritual world should be, and you guys don't fit that. You fit the kind of behavior that is in the material world, the way you behave. So that's where you deserve to go. So we curse you. You go to the material world. So the four Kumaras cursed Jaya and Vijay. Now, underneath all of that was actually Lord Narayan's own will to fight demons. This is how it started. Before even the four Kumaras, the Lord's own will to fight the demons, just for fun. Everything the Lord does for fun. So that's why this incident actually unfolded. So that Jaya and Vijay, who volunteered literally to go, this is even before all of this started, there was that expression. They knew that the Lord wanted to sport, and they wanted to actually be the ones to sport with, just as a way of serving the Lord. So before the four Kumaras came on, all this whole idea of them being stopped at the gate of Vaikuntha, that particular Vaikuntha planet, this was actually what was brewing in the background. So of course, the four Kumaras cursed Jaya and Vijay to go to the material world. The Lord actually showed up at the place and talked to Jaya, the four Kumaras, and took responsibility for the behavior of Jaya and Vijay. But the curse is a curse. So it was decided they would be in the material world for 3 lifetimes and then return. And Jaya and Vijay did not fight that. They just said, Lord, the only thing we want when we go to the material world is never forget you. That's the first advice for all of us. Even a soul that's going to play the role of a demon and a ferocious demon is saying that I don't want to forget the Lord. If we forget the Lord, that's the source of our problems. We got to remember the Lord all of the time. And the easiest way is to chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumara, another thing happened to them, the four Kumaras. When the Lord showed up and they saw the beauty of the Lord, this is all at the gate now when all of this happened. When the four Kumaras saw the beauty of the Lord, saw how personal that he was, their impersonalist idea of merging to the Brahma Jyoti, the effulgence of the Lord, went out the door immediately. They became devotees, Vaishnavas, wanting to serve the Lord now as a personal God. So a number of things happened just there, even though Jaya and Vijay had been cursed. Sanatan, Sanandan, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumara had also become, or they also shed their impersonalist idea. And now they become personalists, just like the devotees that Srila Prabhupada is coaching us to become. Worship the Lord, the personal God, not the effulgence of him, although his effulgence is also spiritual. So Jaya and Vijay had to leave. And the first bodies it took as demons, because demons are the ones that would give the Lord a good fight. And it didn't have to be a small-time demon. They were huge demons. Jaya and Vijaya became Hiraṇyākṣa and Hiraṇyākṣa. So there will be later on a discussion about the pastime of Hiraṇyākṣa also. Very wonderful pastime. And so as Hiraṇyākṣa, he now began to control. And that's what demons like to do. First, they were born from Diti and Kashyapa. Kashyapa had quite a few wives. Many of them were daughters of Daksha. So Diti and Kashyapa had Hiraṇyākṣa and Hiraṇyākṣa. And the way that they were born, those two were born, also is very indicative of what we should and what we should not do. Diti, who was the wife of Kashyapa, asked her husband to see that involve himself sexually because he felt like that. The wife, the man, and she was going to get pregnant. Of course, the Lord was behind all of this because these two demons, these two devotees from the spiritual world, gatekeepers, had to be born as demons. So the husband, Kashyapa, warned his wife, Diti, that we have to see that at an auspicious time. And this time that you're asking is not an auspicious time. But Diti insisted. Of course, again, the Lord being behind it, because sarva karana karanam karana karanam, he is the cause of all causes. And this pastime was to unfold. Therefore, Kashyapa's wife, Kashyapa gave in to his wife. And Diti got pregnant. And because the time was inauspicious, she gave birth to, in an inauspicious situation, gave birth to demons. If a husband and a wife want to relate to have a baby, they should do that under auspicious conditions. And simply this, we shouldn't relate for pregnancy in the modes. That's the majority of people in the world now. So we get married, we want a child. All right? So everybody knows there's two sexual relationships that the woman gets pregnant. But when should the actual act happen? And under what conditions? Krishna says, I'm sex life according to religious principles. This is in the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, the seeding process should also be according to religious principles. Srila Prabhupada has simplified it for us. There is actually the Garbhodaka samskara, which is a ritual to invite a good soul to come to the family. Srila Prabhupada says, well, these days, since there aren't too many priests that know how to go about that particular ritual, that the devotees can chant the holy name of the Lord on the day they want to see, to get the woman, the wife, pregnant. So that also is there. You have to observe that. Then you can get the soul. So the whole idea of getting someone come to a family and to be Krishna conscious depends on, even before sex life is indulged in by the husband and the wife, the kind of mindset that they're in. And the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna mantra, is the be all, do all. So you resort to that first to get the proper mindset, so that the act itself becomes a service. A service. And the soul that is very much interested in Krishna consciousness will be the one that will take birth. And needless to say, it makes the life of the parents, as far as raising the child, a lot easier. When you have a child that is already in the mode of goodness, is already open to Krishna consciousness, you bring them to the temple and they'll just flow right with everything. So a lot depends on how the invitation of that soul takes place. Mm. In some situations, some people may be embarrassed. There's nothing embarrassing about this. You can even tell, especially if you're initiated, or the whole inviting soul to come the spiritual master, that influence. So if you let them know, sometimes the spiritual master is not present. You can go on after obeisances to the picture of a spiritual master and express, husband and wife, we want to try for a child, please bless us. Chances of getting a very good soul is very high then if you do that. Then you make sure you chant your rounds, and then you can go on with the process now. It's spiritualized. It's not a material thing. Just like many of these karmis do. So Hiraṇyākṣa was the first one, going after the earth, trying to get things, especially gold. As Srila Prabhupada says, gold rush, he says it in the purport. You heard, we still use the word gold rush, people going after gold. Gold is still the valued metal, high quality metal, and it is the basis of finances now, still. How much gold determines the value of the currency of a particular country, like that. So in some countries, their money is worth more compared to other countries. It depends on how much that they have. And gold is the one that's behind this. Hiraṇyākṣa he's a big demon. He was going after gold from the earth, digging, mining, taking a whole lot of gold. So much so that the balance of that particular planet, the planet we're on, got affected. And as Prabhupada has already, he explained in the purport, there is, because the balance, the content in the middle part of every planet is also part of the reasons why the planet can float and then travel around the sun like that. And so when the ingredients of the planet, for lack of a better word, the middle part of it is disturbed, then the balance of that planet floating around, as we're saying, is orbiting, that gets affected. And Hiraṇyākṣa was a big demon. And he took so much gold, and gold is actually quite heavy. People think about gold and they say, oh, well, yeah, we know it's heavy. But when we think about a heavy metal, they think about lead. Well, let us tell you from chemistry, the density of gold is bigger than the density of lead. So gold is actually heavier than even the metal that gets credit for being heavy, so heavy. Gold is a little less than twice as heavy as lead. It's that heavy. So that much gold being taken from mining by Hiraṇyākṣa, it tipped the whole balance of how the planet had been constructed. And this is how the Earth fell off its orbit into the Garbhodaka ocean. So the universe is half filled with this water that the Lord rests on. Garbhodaka ocean. So the bottom half. So if you look at the universe in its shape, and Srila Prabhupada described it as simply like this. Of course, it's almost spherical, not quite, but half of it is water, and then the other half are the planets. So if we begin from the bottom half of the universe, then up top of that, first are the hellish planets. Now we're going from the bottom up to the top. The topmost is where Brahmaloka is, Brahma's planet. So, and we are in the middle part. So below, there's 7 planetary systems. When we say planetary systems, that means systems at a particular level, but there are so many planets in it. So planetary systems, 7 of them below and 7 of them above. So the earthly type system, well, in Bhuloka, we are one of the planets in the medium part, the middle part of the universe. Then Bhuvaloka, now I'm counting going up. It's also considered a middle type planet. Then Swagaloka, where Indra, the king of heaven, lives. That starts the heavenly planets. Then on top of that is Mahaloka. And on top of that is Janaloka. And on top of that is Tapaloka. And by the way, Tapaloka is the place of residence for these four Kumaras. That's where they live. They go around, but that's where their base is, Tapaloka. And on top of Tapaloka is Satyaloka or Brahmaloka. So that's the heavenly planets from the middle part to the heavenly. And then below that, below this medium part, are the lower planets, and that's where the Rakshas and the demons, Rakshasas, they live there. So, Ataloka, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Taratala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala, going down. And then below that is the heavenly, the hellish planets, and then this particular, and that covers half of the universe, and the other half is the ocean. So the Earth planet just fell, lost its position in the orbit in the middle part of the universe system, and then it fell into this, and then sank into the Garbhodaka ocean. So the Lord took birth. But one Hiraṇyākṣa, he took birth as a boar incarnation. He took birth from Lord Brahmā. In fact, Bhagavatam describes more specifically how he took birth. He came from the nostril of Lord Brahmā. Any part of Lord Brahma's body can actually, have like people get born, entities get born from different parts of his body. It can be born from his head, it can be born from his arms. Lord Brahmā is that highly placed, for lack of a better word to put it. The demigods came from him. So the Lord, by his own will, decided to come off of Lord Brahma's nostril, and then he became small, and then he expanded to huge boar. And he roared, and those in the heavenly planets, demigods, they knew immediately who that was. The Lord then came after the situation, dealing with the situation. First, he went into the Garbhodaka ocean, and with the tusks, he lifted the earth and placed her in the position that she was supposed to be in. Hiraṇyākṣa appeared, and there was a fight, and the Lord defeated Hiraṇyākṣa. So that the short version of the pastime that happened. So, and Srimad Bhagavatam describes so many situations involving this. Is far more detailed than what I talked about. And as it says here for this one, as Hiraṇyākṣa got killed, he also got pierced by the tusk of the, as to say, for good measure, that Hiraṇyākṣa was attacked like that by the Lord as Varaha, the boar incarnation. So the Lord, so much that we can learn from a situation like this, was the pastime itself is quite wonderful to hear. But then we're talking about the earth here. We are on the earth, and we just come down to a little bit more of what we'll call reality. The Lord is the maintainer of the whole creation, of the material world. So that when something happens, he will definitely do something about it to right the wrong. Even when the Shastra gets contaminated, he will take birth to come straighten that out. It's explained in the Shastra about that. So the whole idea of Lord having the pastime was he got to fight. And Hiraṇyākṣa did his best to give Lord Varaha a good fight, but he got killed. But finally, the Lord kicking behind the ear of Hiraṇyākṣa, and his knees buckled, and he fell, and he died. But as it says here also, the Lord pierced him with his tusk, Lord Varaha. So the earth was saved. The earth is actually quite a special planet in this planetary system, especially in the universe. Srila Prabhupada was being asked questions by some of his disciples in a morning walk. And one of the things that was quite, of course, that's always informative when people ask, devotees ask questions, then we hear so many things that even Srila Prabhupada himself may not write. So literally, it's a good idea to go to Srila Prabhupada, go online and read some of the morning walk. We do on Wednesdays, the lectures that he gave. But the morning walk is also quite informative. The morning walks are recorded and transcribed. Both of them are there. So please avail yourself of it. You will learn a lot. So the Earth planet, when Krishna comes to this particular universe, he's here in the Earth planet. This planet that we're in, there's so many planets in the universe, but he comes to this particular earthly planet, this one, especially in Vrindavan. And the pastimes occur there, born in Mathura and then to Vrindavan. And this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How fortunate we are to be in the planet that the Lord came for his pastimes, to perform his pastimes here on the Dwarka, Mathura, Vrindavan, so many places. A wonderful, and when he comes with the entourage. So the gopis are here. The other, devotees that relate wonderful, pure devotees, they also take birth. And then when he came, and then he wound up his pastimes and left, then he came back as Lord Chaitanya. And these two gatekeepers, by the way, Jaya and Vijaya that we talked about, also came a little over 500 years ago when Lord Chaitanya came, when the Lord came as Lord Chaitanya. They are Jagai and Madai, the same two souls. So they were born as Hiraṇyākṣa and Hiraṇyakashipu. So this first incarnation, the first one according to the way Lord Brahmā is describing it, he created a disturbance in the gold, and the Srila Prabhupada is talking about, but the gold was mined from miles down the middle part of the earth. And now these people of these days are also drilling another very important thick liquid, crude oil, from the middle of the earth. And if gold has caused the earth to be tipped off its orbit into the Garbhodaka ocean, then by going after this, remember, the earth is not replenished by crude oil. It's not. When the crude oil gets taken out, everything practically that the crude oil is used for, after a while, most of it evaporates. We know when we put gas in our car and we light it up in the engine, we have the exhaust, and the exhaust is what? Smoke. Goes up in the air, the atmosphere. It doesn't go back into the earth. So the earth is basically being steadily given less and less and less and less weight, and the complete arrangement of how things are put together inside the earth is being affected. This is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Hiraṇyākṣa did that by taking gold, and he disturbed the balance of the earth. The earth fell into the Garbhodaka ocean, and now we're drilling oil. And over time, if we don't stop doing that, a similar situation can happen. So the earth cannot be disturbed in that way. Anyway, so Srila Prabhupada, now that we know what the earth that has been a very special planet, and we're living here at a time that Srila Prabhupada came, only a few decades back, he left the body. Mm. So take advantage of the situation we have now. Mm. The Earth is a very special planet. The Lord's having his pastimes here. The Lord actually walks the earth. He has in Vrindavan, in Mathura, in Dwarka. These are places that we know of. That makes this particular planet a very, very special planet. And now, a little bit of what's going on between Lord Varaha and the earth. So, in the coverings of the universe, after Brahmaloka and the coverings of the universe, the first one is the earth. There's an earth covering in the universe, soil type covering. But it is done, it's set up in such a way that there is, of course, life everywhere. So there's life even in the coverings. And as we speak, and it's been happening for eons, but as we speak, there is, in fact, worship of Lord Varaha by Mother Bhumi. Every planet is also a personality. Mother Bhumi is a woman. That's why we say Mother Bhumi, Mother Earth. She worships just like Lakshmi worships Narayan. So, Mother Bhumi worships Lord Varaha. So after this pastime, this is what's been going on. And so Mother Bhumi, her title officially is, she's a consort of Lord Varaha, the boar incarnation of Krishna. Mother Bhumi, Mother Earth, is a consort, just like Lakshmi is a consort of Narayan. And this is the planet, her body, that we're on. How fortunate that we are. Mother Bhumi is very pious. The way we're living our lives, if really we were going to be punished, we would be punished far more severely because we're not appreciating and not living properly on the earth in terms of how we misuse the things that are provided on the earth for our sustenance, including now draining of the middle part of the earth in the form of this thick liquid called crude oil. So leave it to Bhagavatam. They'll explain things so we know what we're doing. So even this life that we're living is not good for the health of the earth. That's the situation we're in. So much that needs to be done for people's consciousness to come to the right place. But as devotees, while we are in this very, very, very special planet in this universe, because of Krishna and Krishna's activities, we should take advantage of where we are and take things very, very seriously. So the Lord will deal with any situation that's chaotic. When the earth fell into the bottom of the, into the Garbhodaka ocean and sank to the bottom of it, the Lord came in a special incarnation, Varaha, the boar incarnation, with tusks big enough, strong enough to be able to pick up the whole earth out and be placed back in the place that she was before. And if you can do that, then we, like puny little souls here, what does it take for the Lord to protect us? So if we turn our attention to Krishna in a serious way, turning attention to Krishna is one thing, but turning attention to Krishna in a very serious way is another thing. That means everything that Krishna and the spiritual master taught to us to do, we take very seriously. And Krishna came as an incarnation called Maharaj Rishabhadev. He had 100 sons, and he advised the sons, we should accept a spiritually advanced spiritual master, and the spiritual master will guide us to develop love in Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we should stay away from sense gratification. And there is pleasure and pain in this world. That's the way, that's the part of the fabric of the life here on this earth. So tolerate it, because none of these stays permanently. There's challenge, but then it goes away. Pleasure, but it also goes away. This like the seasons change, summer and winter. Now we have to realize, especially devotees, that we are in a miserable condition. Even those who claim to be wealthy and satisfied, they're still in a miserable condition because they can't escape things that happen to them. Case in point, only maybe a couple of months ago, California, there was fire. And the fire was in the bushes. But then it got into the homes. And very expensive $1 million homes got burned to the ground. Well, that's owned by rich people. But what happened? The rich people became homeless from their homes. They had to try to live somewhere else. And of course, the news will, bring it out, and we'll see some people were very miserable to the point of tears. Some of them could rebuild, and some of them found themselves in a situation where they couldn't get back to that type of property because it's taken them a while to be able to get to the point to get property that's sprawling and so many acres that thing covers, and so many bedrooms and so many bathrooms and so many designs of different kinds from different parts of the world. All of those precious paintings and all of that got burned to the ground. And that's rich people, and this happened to them. So there's miserable conditions here. People get sick. And then in the end, everything that you work for, you die and leave it behind. That's why devotees are in the mindset of, yes, we also live here on this earth. But for us, our situation is we are only trying to live materially what's necessary, but we have our attention towards going back to Godhead, where everything is provided and nothing ever gets lost by fire or any of those kind of things or bad weather. So we have been told the very best thing that we could do in this earth. So we got to take advantage of it. Don't play. Don't get proud thinking that you know everything. It's humility. Humility is the real key to success in spiritual life. When people make mistakes, especially if you know you have made a mistake, you should apologize. Anybody that finds it very hard to apologize is literally killed this life spiritually. They've already killed it. That is, the ego is so high, you can't even say, I'm sorry. And there are devotees like that. Kami people, well, they live in their sense gratification thing. Where are they going to wind up? They're going to have another body, another life. But devotees that have an opportunity to go back to Godhead and letting little things like being humble enough get in the way, that's very sad. That's very sad. But the whole idea is to transform our lives into better situation by relating well to devotees, by being very, very respectful and loving and serving of devotees and Guru, and naturally the deity also. Then we'll be successful. So the pastimes and the scheduled incarnations, they'll come. Lord Brahma will describe one after another in the text to follow. So this first one is about Hiraṇyākṣa, which means Hiraṇyākṣa, the other gatekeeper, his pastimes, and the Lord, how the Lord killed him, will also be coming on. So stay tuned for that. Hare Krishna. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much for coming on, and this is the time to unmute yourself and ask any questions that you would like to ask, and or share any takeaways from it too. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisance of Srila Prabhupada. Very long purport and a lot of lessons in the purport as you were reading it. And I think with the longer the purport, there are more than one takeaways or lessons from it. But I think, I think one of my takeaways from this class, from this purport is how, we are reminded, when there is an increase of irreligion, then the Lord descends, And and this is what I'm being reminded, about this pastime of Lord Varaha, is because of Hiraṇyākṣa, because of his demonic acts, and then the Lord descends. And the Lord can choose any form he wants. That's the beauty of it too, like there's no one that can do what the Lord does. The Lord can appear as man have lion, as a boar, as a fish, as a tortoise. He can appear as no one can do that. No one can take that can do that role. It's only the Supreme Personality of Godhead that can take any shape, form, or manner that he wants, and he'll take any shape, form, or manner as he desires, to protect his devotees and get rid of the miscreants. So I was thinking about that, how the Lord comes over and over again, in that form to shape to save the devotees. And then I was thinking how Lord Chaitanya appeared as a form of a devotee to be a commoner, as they say, but bring us the holy name of the Lord to save, which is the quickest way, is just chant the holy name and just keep chanting to purify ourselves. So I was just thinking, so this was one of my takeaways, how the Lord is always looking out for his devotees. So not in wishes.
Baba Krishna says, he didn't even say himself directly. He said, you are June. Declare it. My devotee will never perish. Ame Bhakta Panashati. Kaunteya Arjun Pratijanihi. You declare. Ame Bhakta Panashati. In chapter 9 in Bhagavad Gita. So we are protected, and all we want to be for that protection to be very, very effective for us is to remain the devotee of the Lord. And how do you remain a devotee of the Lord? There are instructions on how to live our lives. Follow that with great determination. And our protection comes. It says, my devotee will never be vanquished. So the Lord gives that promise, and he is the most superior being, controller of all controllers, controller of all demigods. And he says, my devotee will not perish. He showed that when the Pandavas came, there was war, so many situations. Even generals that had more power, more destructive ability than Arjun, and they fought him, and they were the ones that went, and Arjun was left standing at the end of the Kurukshetra war along with his 4 brothers. My devotee will never perish. This is a guarantee by Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even a devotee's death is glorious, as long as he take the process seriously. The death is glorious because for us, it is entry to the spiritual world. For non-devotees, it's another time with Yamaraj to decide where they're going to go in the material world, what kind of body, what kind of community, and what kind of nation they're going to be involved in, another set of trials and tribulations, because they don't get it yet. They want sense gratification. The devotee gives his life to Krishna for that reason, because they get the best. And now Krishna is also promised we'll be protected. Never perish. By the time we die, that will be decided by Krishna. And if we're ready, took the process seriously, then we don't have to come back in another physical body. We just go home, and then everything is without anxiety, and it's wonderful the whole way. Forever. Literally forever. Hare Krishna. Any other comments? Okay, I'm not hearing anything, so we can end here. Thank you, dear devotees, for coming on. Actually, I filled in for Mother Gita, who normally does Mondays, every other Monday. So anyway, so have a wonderful week, Krishna consciously. Vanchakapatarubhascha kripa sindhibhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Pariksit. Thank you again very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, glory
Hare
to Srila
Krishna.
Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, glory to Srila Prabhupada.